The Jazz are working towards finalizing a contract buyout with Kevin Love. Love is known to want to join a contender for potentially his last season in the NBA at 37 years old. That is Evan Siddery on Twitter, September 14th. Now, Kevin Love has a long history being rumored to the Warriors. We're going all the way back to 2014? For you semi-OGs of Dub Nation. The rumored deal was Klay Thompson and Draymond Green for a Kevin Love who was on the Minnesota Timberwolves putting up 20 and 20. He was putting up, not averaging, but I mean, he was putting up these monster numbers on this bad Wolves team. And the optics on those players were different at the time. Kevin Love was thought of as this franchise player. Klay, not quite Klay yet. Draymond, definitely not Draymond yet. I was one of the ones that raised my hands and was like, that seems like too much. I wouldn't do that. But thankfully, it was Jerry West, who was with the Warriors at the time, that was like, no, we ain't doing that. The rest is history. Now, Love has had, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't have a problem with it. I haven't looked at his historical numbers, but he's got the hardware. He's got the longevity. He'll probably make it, right? The Basketball Hall of Fame isn't as hard as, baseball or even football. So, but, he's looking to join a contender. Why would he want to join the Warriors? Are they contenders? Well, let me give you a few reasons. One, he's a West Coast guy. Santa Monica, UCLA, every time Kevin Love's available, he flirts with California teams, it seems like. I'd like to go back to California. So there's that, right? He's been on a couple of Olympic teams where Kerr was on the coaching staff, so they definitely have a rapport, right? And then the time he spent in Miami, if you've been following his Twitter account, him and Jimmy Butler are close. So he messes with Jimmy. Steph, Draymond, they know him well, right? There's that rapport already. And, now the question is, are the Warriors a contender? What type of opportunity would he hold? I think he would be a great mentor for Quentin Post as a stretch big. And I also think that he would preserve Al Horford. Now, does that, kind of the same guys? Al is thought of as a more solid defender, right? Al would play over Kevin Love, but he would be kind of an emergency big, a situational big that could change matchups, right? And here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm proposing. You say, well, how are you going to get Kevin Love and all this Kuminga stuff we're waiting on? The rumor is, right, once the Kuminga thing is sorted out, Al Horford is getting that mid-level. Then there's GP2, there's DeAnthony Melton, and possibly Seth Curry. What I'm proposing is you bail on one of those guards in favor of Kevin Love. Now, which guard is that? I'm very wary of DeAnthony Melton. I understand at the veteran minimum, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, but I mean, the dude hasn't been healthy in 5 years. GP2, he gets the South Beach flu once a week. So I'm just, and here's my point. Why do we always overload the back end of the roster with guards? I know, small ball Steve Kerr, right? I'm tired of doing that. And clearly the league is moving towards bigger lineups, back towards bigger lineups, right? And so instead of overloading on guards, use one of those spots on Kevin Love. Of course, if he's willing. Right? And I get it. You're adding another old player. But again, if you look at those guards, they're not exactly pillars of health. And then the other point that I would make when it comes to this is you love Moses Moody so much. You love Brandon Pajemski so much. Will Richard was a really nice draft pick. We have guard depth. And if they were to have injury issues at the guard spot, let's be honest, midway through the year, you're in January and you need to pick up a guard, it's far more easy to pick up a guard, whether that's in the G League or just off waivers or someone's just not on a roster, as opposed to trying to find depth in the front court. So if Kevin Love is interested in the Warriors, I know it's not going to happen. I know we're always going to sell out for the guards, but I just want to put this out in the air that, if he would consider the Warriors, I'd love to give him one of these roster spots, since we only have 9 players currently on the roster. We don't need 3 more guards added to the back end of this roster when you've got 3 young guards that supposedly they like. What do y'all think? Adding Kevin Love instead of, let's say, See, I know y'all like D'Anthony Melton too. I guess that would be the question. If they were adding Melton and GP2, I don't know about Seth. Let's say they're adding all three. Which of the three would you replace with Kevin Love? Probably can't do it to Seth. Would that be weird? Even though Seth's never, well, he has been a Warrior. That's not true, briefly, right? But that'd be kind of weird. GP2 has the tenure, right? So would it be Melton? We're going to back out on Melton again? Anyway, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I just wanted to put it in the air. Like, let's add some front court depth rather than adding like 6 guards to this roster, having 6 guards on this roster. Before I go, PrizePicks, great way to support the channel. The link's in the description. You can scan the QR code now. It's simple to play. You pick 2 to 6 players, predict more or less on their projected stats, and cash in if they hit. New users, play $5, get $50 instantly. My picks for tonight's Valkyries Lynx game. Janelle Salon, she's going to let it fly from 3. We all know that, right? And I think the Valkyries understand their only hope at stealing one of these games is hitting a bunch of threes. So I've got Janelle Salon for more than 1.5 threes. And then Heidemann. I've got Heidemann for more than 10.5 points. She's just lighting us up. One of the more electric athletic guards in the W. Is she going to win 6th Woman of the Year? Did they already announce that one? VB won Most Improved. Nat's going to win Coach of the Year. So the Valkyries are racking up the awards here, and it's been a successful season, but you see the juggernaut that they're going up against tonight. Will we get some sort of favorable whistle in San Jose? You know, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's something funky is going to happen. It almost feels like the Lynx would have to punt on the game. Not punt. Punt's not the right word. The Lynx would have to sell. They would have to trick off the game in order for us to steal this. But hey, if they hit 15 threes, anything is possible, right? And that crowd, as you've seen last night, the home court crowd is an advantage, even though it's not going to be at Chase Center. Tonight as well, I actually, as I say, home court advantage and home crowd, I like Phoenix to get it done in New York tonight. You saw Stewie go down late in that first game where, like, listen, Stewie's feet are constantly telling secrets to each other, right? They're like she's. I don't think that Stewie's going to be 100. I think Phoenix is the better team, and even though it's a hostile environment, I expect their intensity, their physicality. I expect Satu to make a shot and Phoenix to push that back to Phoenix for a game 3. But again, PrizePicks, great way to support the channel. Link in the description. What do y'all think? Kevin Love? If it's not Kevin Love, I know you may not agree with Kevin Love, but I know you feel me on filling out the roster with 1 more big as opposed to 3 more guards. I know Al Horford, who's probably going to be our starting center, but 3 guards behind that, you can't get a big win, a bigger body. The league's getting bigger, and we need to adapt and adjust. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.